Dub Nation. After the final buzzer. This is where you come for instant post-game reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is Dub's OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Steph gets a running start. Butler! Save the day! Butler with a block! They found Butler in the backcourt. Jamal Steph thought he was wholly free, and then the Butler did it. And you see Jimmy Butler like, I got you.
Yeah, huge block for Jimmy Butler on a night where he struggles offensively but does everything else to the tune of a triple-double, 16, 11, 12 assists, doing the usual. Warriors really clamped down the defense in the fourth quarter. Wasn't a whole lot of it in the first three quarters, but they're able to do enough to grind out a win, and that now puts them in position to where everybody holding their breath as to what is going on with Steph and Curry, taking that fall, really getting thrown to the ground on a play where a foul was not called and lands on looked like the tailbone and the back, was able to get up after being down for a while. I mean, you could hear a pin drop inside Chase Center as Steph went down, and it goes to show again just how fragile everything truly is for the Warriors, despite some big-time high-end expectations that grow by the night here. But Warriors, on the one hand, get the win. On the other hand, the primary headline coming off of this game is what the Warriors, at least at this point, are calling a pelvic contusion for Stephen Curry. So a bruise at this point would be, I think, deemed to be positive news. Now, obviously, that can be significant. It was clear Steph was in some legitimate pain, unable to come back into the game. We'll get you the latest on anything that's going on as it relates to Steph Curry as soon as we know, as soon as we see when Steve Kerr gets to the podium as to the severity of what's going on with Stephen Curry here moving forward. 117-114 is the final. We welcome you in. It is Dubs OT with JD here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Cheers to everyone on hand here at Harmonic. We've got Shay and Grace tonight. Mike's in the house. Eddie's in the house. We already had somebody stop by and say hi. A lot of folks celebrating the Warrior win, but also a little cautiously nervous about what's going on with Stephen Curry and the prospect of him potentially having to miss some time due to, again, what the Warriors at this point are calling a pelvic contusion. Warriors end up 5-1 on the homestand, 6-game homestand. And tonight I thought it felt like it had some similarities to the game against Denver, and that with all the emotion and the big win the other night against Milwaukee and some of the other big wins that the Warriors have had of late, it felt like this game was kind of the one the Warriors just had to get through and find a way to get a win. But it was never really pretty. At times there was a lot of offense and no defense. At times the Warriors really stagnated. I actually think tonight, from a game standpoint, you do give the Raptors credit. I know often we kind of play the game of, well, the Warriors didn't bring it and they weren't locked in and they couldn't do this and that. I think the Raptors, I think we've seen enough of a sample size over the last couple of years with the Raptors in some of these head-to-head matchups to say that they just play the Warriors tough. And I think they've got a coaching staff that does a real good job of preparing some lesser talented teams to be able to combat against what the Warriors do well. And the Raptors do have some size and the Raptors do have some length to them. And I think, as everyone who watches or listens to this program knows, it's a scenario where those two things have a tendency to make life a little bit difficult on the Warriors. And the Raptors in this game, 58 paint points for Toronto, 58-30 the advantage there. Now, the Warriors made up for it because they started off exceptionally hot from three-point range, and Draymond Green leading the way on a night where Steph Curry ends up only with the 25 minutes and the 4 3-point attempts, 5 3-pointers. He had 3 very quickly. Podziemski was hitting the 3-ball tonight. Quentin Post hitting the 3-ball tonight as well. 6 of 9 as Quentin Post ended up with a career high equaling 6 3-pointers made in this one and 18 big points in 22 minutes. So the Warriors won this game with the 3-ball through the bulk of the game, but really won it with some dogged defense at the end. And we talked about it the other night, just the simple fact that when the Warriors were at their elite of the elite status and a dynasty and winning titles and playoff series and all of that, they were doing it because in the close games, they would win because they put the clamp down on good teams, on bad teams. And tonight it was more a bad team than a good. But the Raptors were basically, for a good 4 or 5 minute stretch, stuck on 2 points over that span, which even though the Warriors weren't scoring a lot themselves and struggling to find offense and who was going to be out there to try and get some offense without Steph, the Warriors ended up doing enough defensively in this game to prevail. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open here as we get things going on this Thursday night, final game of the homestand, final one here at Harmonic before April. Kind of hard to believe, but yeah, the Warriors are not going to play another home game for 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow will be the next one as the Warriors hit the road for the next 6, and it is spread out. Saturday, and then a couple of off days before the Warriors take on Miami, a couple of more before they take on the Pelicans. And again, you don't want to overdo it or overstate it, but I think one of the things I was going to get into before the Steph Curry injury occurred that I just kind of had on the big board as far as it relates to tonight is, can the Warriors, and it feels like it's already changed, by the way, can the Warriors basically run the table starting tonight through these next 5 games? And it's with Toronto, it was Atlanta on the road, at Miami in the Jimmy Butler return game, at the Pelicans, at the Spurs, and that 5-0 in that stretch, and the Warriors get the first one tonight, would go, I think, a long way toward telling everyone exactly just what the Warriors can do. Not yet. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, brother. Go a long way toward telling everyone, how far they can take this thing as far as getting the 3 seed, getting the 5 seed, and wherever they can get to. Get the 6 seed, secure the 6 seed. And the latest right now, just from the locker room here and the press conference, Curry getting an MRI now. Steve Kerr said that he was trying to come back into the game, but the Warriors held him off. So he went to the locker room, was intent on coming back, and then, no, we're going to hold that off and make sure everything's in a good spot. So, again, early good news there. And we'll let everybody know if we get any more news here between now and 11 or 11:15. But yeah, the Warriors wouldn't let Steph come back in the game. And for this night and this game specifically, I think it was the right call, without a doubt. And look, the Warriors were risking it there. There were moments tonight in this game where it looked like the Warriors might not win it. They get down in the third quarter. It was 85-79 at one point. It was 90-83 at one point, the biggest lead. And as you get into some of the nuts and bolts about this one, as we continue to keep everybody updated on what's going on with Steph, the Warriors really won this game with the run that they had at the end of the third quarter. And it was another where Buddy Hield's involved and Quentin Post is involved in that third quarter, making stuff happen, knocking down some big shots, and getting the lead for the Warriors going into the quarter as the Steph Curry injury announcement was made, and then just finding enough defense and a few buckets here or there down the stretch. Warriors did end up with 5 in double figures, 6 in double figures in this one. So they get 117. It was balanced out. But Draymond Green hadn't led the Warriors in scoring in about 8 years. Ended up doing it again here for the second time in less than a week for Golden State as they improve to 41-29 on the year. They get the win 117-114. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Let's get into the chat a little bit. An early edition here of Kyle's Clicks as the Warriors beat the Raptors tonight. VRock 408. JD, how many games do you think the Warriors can win without Steph? Well, they are 7-3 without him, surprisingly. And again, I don't want to put a number on it, but assuming this is not a serious injury, the type of injury that might keep him out a game or two, and I think immediately I always look at gaps in the schedule. I mean, and look, we don't even know that he's necessarily going to be out on Saturday when they open the trip at Atlanta at this point in time. But let's say he missed Atlanta, he would get, tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday and Monday. I mean, you give him one game off, he gets basically 5 days off because the Warriors then don't play in Miami until Tuesday. But I think the Warriors have shown, whether I believe it or not or think it's real, they've shown that they can win some games without Steph. And then I lay it out, V-Rock. It's the simple fact that the Warriors do have a much more favorable schedule ahead here at Atlanta, at Miami, who's struggling mightily, 9 now in a row, I think, after last night for Miami in the loss column. Obviously, they'll be amped for the Jimmy Butler return game and want to stick it to him. So that game's no picnic. But then the Pelicans and Spurs, who are actively tanking, follow that before it gets tougher with Memphis and the Lakers. And then the next home game 2 weeks from tomorrow is the Warriors going at it against the Denver Nuggets. So I think they can win. I would not rule them out in any of the next 4 games without Steph. And I guess we'll keep it short there. I think you certainly hope he's not going to be out 4, but he may have to miss a couple. If you give him the next 2 games off, he ends up getting basically a week off and comes back. And, somebody had put out on social media, maybe this is the equivalent, and I don't think the Warriors can afford for it to be the equivalent, but assuming it winds up not being a truly serious injury. Remember, Steph did miss some time at the end of 2022, right around this time, and the Warriors were in a much better position then. They were basically going to be a top 3 seed at that point, and they won enough to not completely careen and fall off the map, but it got Steph some rest for a couple of weeks there before the playoffs started. And he was, and I think in hindsight, the Warriors all believe that was somewhat of a blessing for the long playoff run, even at the age that Steph was, 34, going back a couple of years ago or 3 years ago in 2022, that was beneficial. So, again, you got to hope he's okay, first and foremost, and that the injury isn't significant. We'll see what the MRI says, and we'll keep everybody updated. Obviously, that's holding their breath at this point. So, good comment there from V-Rock. Fossey, if he wanted to come back, then that's a good sign. Yeah, that is a good sign. Again, you never want to mess around with a back, or again, I guess it's more the pelvis than the back at this point. But when you could hear, not in real time, but you could hear it. I know it was making the rounds on social media. There was a clip going around where you could audibly hear the crack. I mean, you could hear the thud of his body hitting the wood. Again, we're not diagnosing here. We're not playing doctor in that, but you could just, it was kind of a gruesome, uncomfortable sound. And again, I had to pop in the earbuds and to be able to uncover my ears basically to try and be able to hear it in the building. But it was an audible, not pleasant sound. But yeah, I agree, Fossey. If he wanted to come back in, that is a good sign, or felt that he could come back in. I think that's a good sign. And so far, Todd K, I think Curry's okay. Looked rough. Other look kind of bad. Easy games coming up. Let's get him some rest. Again, I think the Warriors are always cautious with these kinds of things. I would imagine he probably doesn't play Saturday, but you never know. Again, if he felt he could have gone back in to the game tonight, then that's obviously a good sign. But you just never know with the little small, especially if it's a back, that lower, little small bone in your back cracks or something weird there. You just want to make sure you rule everything out, and then obviously see how you feel the next day, because I would imagine that something like that's probably going to feel worse for a couple of days after tonight, especially when in the heat of the moment, Steph was trying to get back out there. It's Dubs OT with JD here, KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM San Francisco, the sports leader, a Cumulus media station. We're at Harmonic in Thrive City, and we continue on here, Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. 808 KNBR, by the way, got a couple of lines open if you want to give Overnight Dave a call. He'll get you set up. Good to see Dave. We got Jacob Violante in studio as well. Regulator saying Steph should miss no more than one game unless it's worse than a bruise. Yeah, contusion obviously at this point equals bruise. They can't afford to rest him. I agree with that. And again, I don't think, as much as I think the Warriors are going to be cautious about it, they are not going to be cute about it. And I think that's a key thing to keep in mind. I think they know that, but I also think they know, and again, in the moments where Steph's on the ground and nobody really knows what's going on and everybody's kind of holding their breath, in those moments, if you're a Warriors fan, you realize that regardless of how well this team has played, and the belief that they have in the ceiling that this team can have even this season come the playoffs, it all goes out the window with any kind of significant injury to Steph Curry or to Jimmy Butler or to Draymond Green, for that matter. I think those would be the three that the Warriors, if it was a couple of weeks or playoff altering, you could forget about it. It's done at that point in terms of, forget about championship, like winning a playoff series. Like you're not winning a playoff series against anybody without Steph Curry. Like that's just that's just, regardless of how great Jimmy Butler has been at putting teams on his back through the years and during his time with Miami. But I would say, again, unless it's something unforeseen on that MRI, the early returns, while we don't play doctor on this show, the early returns do seem positive. And again, official word at this point is a pelvic contusion. Steph wanted to go back in. Warriors not going to let that happen per Steve Kerr. And he's getting an MRI as we began this show here within the last 15 minutes or so. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open as we come to you here from Harmonic in Thrive City. Let's get a couple of more here, Kyle. Bees knees. Dubs play a bunch of bums until Memphis. Need Steph back by then, and that's April 1st against Memphis. I mean, yeah, we laid it out. Atlanta, Miami, the Pelicans, and the Spurs are the next four before they play at Memphis on April the 1st. Again, that's what you would hope would be the worst-case scenario, is maybe 4 games. But I would not, given the way the Warriors have played without Steph and with the breaks in between. This is where the little mini vacation that the team's going to have in Miami is, can be extremely beneficial, because it really is the last stretch here where the Warriors don't have a lot of games all bunched together until the end of the season. The final 10 days is 11 days, I believe it is crazy. The final, I think it's 7 and 11 to close it out. But between Lakers, Denver, Houston, Phoenix, San Antonio, Portland, and then they end the year with the Clippers. 7 and 11 at the final game of the road trip that the Warriors will embark on and head for Atlanta tomorrow until their next home game, which is going to be 2 weeks from tomorrow as well. 808 KNBR, let's get another one here on Dubs OT, Mr. Bay Area. Yeah, the easy games are coming up, but the Warriors have a tendency to play lackluster and without energy against the easy teams. Yeah, that was on display again tonight. I mean, the Warriors started hot shooting, but they could not protect the paint at all in this one. They were, Scotty Barnes was kind of having his way at different times. Pirtle was having his way with the Warriors at different times in this game. Quickly ends up with 21. But, yeah, Scotty Barnes has had some games against the Warriors, as has Pirtle. Battle had a nice game, knocking down 4 threes. Shed was a problem right up until Jimmy Butler sent him away there with about 15, 20 seconds to go and the game hanging in the balance. But enough balance scoring for the Warriors side. I was a little concerned once Steph went down with the Warriors already having worked their way back into the game. They basically worked their way back into the game because Steph was starting to take it over a little bit. And in that moment, the Warriors, there's about a 2-minute stretch where I think they gave up 5 straight points to fall down by 7. And they were a little shook, I thought, in that moment. Like, climb back into it, unsure. Toronto very comfortable against the Warriors. And it ends up being, they get that run at the end of the quarter, which I think was huge to get the lead going to the fourth. I think that allowed everybody to relax. But, man, how good was Draymond? How good was Jimmy Butler defensively to be able to guide the Warriors to that victory? A lot of discussion about shot selection in this game. And I see a couple of people talking about Draymond with the 14 threes. And, look, teams are daring him to shoot him. 14's too many. He was hot early, and I think he's really feeling his shot right now. Ends up with 21. But, yeah, 14 threes is too many. And he ends up 5 of 14 on a night where the Warriors hit 40%. So the volume overall was not bad in terms of, you're pushing 50, but you're hitting a 40% clip, and Draymond was below that clip. And so really it was kind of the others, although Moody remains cold from 3 and a little bit of a slump. He didn't hit a field goal tonight. Jonathan Kaminga, I thought, and there was a exchange on social media. Like he took some terrible shots early in the game, couple of threes, couple of those turnaround jumpers. And then he had a really good stretch, bounce back, really good stretch in his second shift in the second quarter, kind of struggled again in the third quarter, had a big bucket in the post in the fourth quarter. And look, the Warriors won this game by 3, so they needed everything that they got from everybody. And I actually give Kaminga credit on a night where he was pretty bad for the first and third quarters and kind of even in the fourth quarter, but he made it into a acceptable night tonight with what he did in the second quarter in that second shift where he had 9 in a row, and I think he ended up with 12 of his 16 basically in that quarter. And you look at tonight with Steph unable to finish the game, 21 from Draymond, huge. Any night you can win with Draymond, 21. Curry ends up with 17. Quentin Post, 18 tonight, number 2. So it was Draymond, Post, Curry, and then Kaminga and Jimmy Butler each had 16. So it was a balanced attack for the Warriors, even though nobody per se went off for Golden State. And I give Kaminga some credit for being able to bounce back and have basically make it an okay game off of a handful of minutes in the second quarter where there were some real rough stretches in the first and third quarters that had people questioning some of the shot selection. And I would say, 14's too many threes for him, for Draymond. I think 5 is probably too many threes for Kaminga. I think there's been a couple too many Kobe Bryant-esque turnaround jumpers from Kaminga, which again, he cleaned that up a little bit and started to get into lane, got out in transition, got a couple layups off of transition and cuts, and the defense was scrambled. He put his head down and got to the basket. So real nice stretch that the Warriors ultimately ended up needing, but they're still trying to figure out how it all fits, I think, to be sure. with Jonathan Kaminga. 808 KNBR, let's get a call here before we take a timeout. Hugh in Santa Cruz is up here on Dubs OT on the Sports Leader. Hey, Hugh.
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, Hugh?
Oh, it's Gio.
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm good, bro. JD, bro, I'm celebrating this win just like all of us, Dub Nation. Bro, we're on a roll right now.
Appreciate the call, man. They're on a roll. Thank you for the call. We'll get your name right next time. Having a good night, but wow, maybe partaking in a couple here tonight. A couple celebratory pilsners out there tonight for the Warriors. It's Q. It was Q. My bad, Q. Okay, Q, not Hugh. All right. Sorry, Q. We'll get you again. We'll get you again next time. But be safe out there. All right, let's take a timeout. We're taking the old 20-second timeout. No, let's take a full timeout. We're gonna take a full timeout. We'll come back. We'll reset, and we'll do more in the chat. We got a couple of lines open. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open as the Warriors win 117-114. It is KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hoops Heads, Dubs OT with John Dickinson keeps ballin'. Streaming live at twitch.tv/The Sports Leader.
Draymond, corner three, rimmed it out. 14 threes attempted by Draymond Green.
But he held back. He ran all the way back to Draymond, saved it, and Mooney denied. He was fouled, but Draymond Green, what a sprint to save the day defensively.
Incredible stuff from Draymond Green in this one. Hustle plays, defense, and he made 5 3-pointers as well. We're back here. It's Dubs OT with JD from Harmonic in Thrive City. We got Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios. We are sipping on a Kolsch tonight, so if you are around, maybe not tonight, stop by and say hi. As friend of the show, our buddy Irwin Quang is here in the house and saying what's up tonight. Feeling good. Irwin said he was a little camera shy, so we'll let him go. And I think he also has already had a couple, so he may need to use the restroom. He may need to use. I think he was waiting in line.
Harmonic beer kicking in.
It's yeah. So Irwin, great to see you, my man, always, and we'll hopefully catch up with you in the chat. But thank you for appreciate it. So yeah, Irwin Quang, one of the regulars, one of the OGs in the chat here. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. And also, just one other quick shout out to Kyle. Aaron, who listens all the way in Hong Kong. Lives in Hong Kong. This is his favorite show. And he came up, and he's a New Zealander. He's got the New Zealand accent going. But he lives in Hong Kong. I think one of his parents was from Hong Kong, another one from New Zealand, and he's caught on to Dubs OT and loves everything that we're about. And I think he said he went to college here about 20 years ago in the Bay and basically became a fan of all the Bay Area's teams at that point. And so, yeah, he was having a brew, I think enjoying the outside right now with some friends and peeped in on the show. So, Aaron, thank you so much. For stopping by and saying hi. And we truly do span the globe. I mean, from Hong Kong to New Zealand. I mean, that's pretty good here on Dubs OT with JD here from Harmonic Brewing. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627 to give us a call or shoot us a text here. We'll get to one from the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line in just a moment. But let's go back to the phones, and Todd is up next. Todd in Paradise on the Sports Leader. Hey, Todd.
My boys, I can't thank you enough for having me on. You guys highlighted my message with Curry. Curry looked, and I typed it wrong. On one angle, he looked all right. I've had enough falls, and I've fallen off fences in my lifetime, and one looked bad, one looked good. And so if he's walking to the locker room, it ain't broke. People asking for MRIs. Is he good? I'm no doctor, obviously, but I think he's good. I just want to shout out Fossey, Gisak, all my boys on the I'm just trying to scroll up here, but hey, I won't take any more time.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Todd.
Yeah, Buko, I see you. Love you guys. Thank you for your time.
All right, appreciate it. I love it when the chat meets the phone lines. I really do, Kyle. It's a beautiful thing. I love it when the guys from the chat come up and we can put some names to the faces and faces to the names and voices to the comments. It really truly is. I tell Greg Silver this all the time during his time on the show. And by the way, we are going to have a Greg Silver appearance on Tuesday, the Miami game, which is going to be a YouTube only game because the Giants are going to be playing that night. And so Greg Silver, I used to tell him all the time, I mean, the beauty of this show truly is the community of it. I mean, this is a show for the fans. It truly is. And for the people to be able to interact and share their thoughts. It's a lot of me kind of setting the table and answering, giving my opinions on a lot of the topics that are out there and available. But this show is nothing without the people that call in and keep it moving. And again, we have the best chat, I think, of any show going with not only the loyalty factor, but just the interactions, the wild debates. Sometimes it might get a little screwy and off topic, but that's okay. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You got like 3 different things going on at once. It's very 2025, right? You got to be multitasking at all times. And look, not everybody wants to call in. Not everybody wants to hear that. Not everybody wants to be seen on camera. It's all good. But if you do, we're here for you. If not, we got you covered as well in the chat with the comments. And we appreciate everybody in a big time way. 408 on the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line, talking about Kaminga's shots. A lot of his shots look less like shots and more like throwing the ball toward the basket, hoping that some go in. Some of the drives are a little wild and erratic. I also think he's trying to draw fouls on some of those. But, yeah, again, he is at his best when it is layups and dunks and it's off of everything else that the Warriors are trying to do. I think where have run into problems in the time that he's been back is there really has been too many stretches where he's almost had to isolate, and the Warriors have almost deferred to him like the rest of the players on the court want to take a few plays off. And I just don't think that's the answer, willing as he may be to look to try to operate and function in that manner. I just don't think that's a winning formula. And, some nights he's going to hit some of those shots that he missed. A lot of nights he's not. But for this team truly to be at their best, I think it has to look a little bit more like it did in the second quarter tonight and not so much what it looked like in the first and third quarters tonight. And it has to look a little bit more like it did in the Sacramento game. Again, this isn't about, for me, as it relates to Kaminga, it's not about getting him back to where he was before the injury. Like that may happen, but that's not the goal. The goal is getting him to be able to be a highly effective role player for this team to where they can be contenders to win, get into the playoffs and be contenders to win multiple playoff series. And so it's how he fits with everybody else. He is coming back to a new team. Again, I think for the most part, his spirit has been in the right place, but the shot selection at times, and tonight I thought he was kind of hunting early in the game. Like I thought in the third quarter, it was more the Warriors kind of going to him because they were just a little deferential. And he struggled a little bit in the third quarter as well, but he is the body type of a player that needs to be out there for the Warriors, especially against teams like Toronto, and especially when you're down Steph Curry. He was out there, and again, maybe you're not going to run everything through him, but you still need his ability to defend and hustle and rebound and all of those things. And if you're running your offense the right way, you're going to find a couple of easy buckets here and there. And the part about Kaminga that I like, even on a night like tonight, is the fact that even when he isn't playing well, and he was not in that first quarter, but he can still get 10, 12 points in like 4 minutes. And the Warriors, regardless of how he does it, the Warriors don't really have many players that can do that. And, Steph obviously is one. Jimmy can do it. Although, Jimmy still, I think, is struggling to find his shot, and he's had some tough goings at the rim on some plays where he hasn't been able to draw fouls. I mean, he's getting his shot blocked a lot and altered a lot. But I would put Kaminga in that category. I'd put Buddy Hield even in that category as somebody that can. If he gets hot, he can score 12 points in about 3 minutes. Quentin Post can knock down 2 or 3 shots in a shift on the court, a 5-6 minute shift on the court, which is important. But it's that's where Kaminga still truly is a threat, even on nights where he struggles. And again, I thought tonight for the most part he struggled, but he made it into a decent night with that 5-6 minute stretch there in the second quarter. And you look back on it, and if Kaminga ends up with 8 tonight on 4 of 15 instead of 16 on 7 of 15, then the Warriors may be talking about a really, really difficult loss. And I think the tenor of everything would be a lot different here, given what happened with Steph and Curry. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Let's get to Danny in Vancouver next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Danny, what's going on tonight, my friend?
Hey, JD. Nice to talk to you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Kind of a strange night out here tonight. You figured, at least I did, the Warriors were going to be a little not into it, maybe compared to some of these other games. But Toronto plays them tough, which is odd. The last couple of years, Toronto blew them out here last year when the Warriors really were not going well. Beat them earlier in the year, a game the Warriors blew in Toronto. But so they've got some players that play well against the Warriors. I think they've got a coach that kind of knows what the Warriors like to do. So they always seem pretty prepared, even though they're a team that is now 24 and 46 on the year. So I kind of expected that part of it. Then the Steph Curry injury, I think, has everybody just kind of shaken a little bit until for sure that he's going to be okay. But all in all, Danny, 5-1 homestand. I think that's exactly the number you would have signed up for ahead of time. And they do have some winnable games in the next 4 here before April. So they are in a pretty good shot, or in pretty good shape, rather, pending this Steph Curry MRI.
I had to call in tonight just because it's Canada's team playing. It's not my team, of course. You know who my team is.
Sure, of course.
Call in and just say
it's not the Memphis Grizzlies. It's not the Memphis Grizzlies, no, Danny. I'll tell you that.
That's a whole other story, by the way. They pulled who was the owner of the Baltimore Colts who took him away in the middle of the night? Was it Art Modell? It wasn't quite that.
Oh,
but it was.
Irsay. Ursay's dad.
Irsay. Yeah. It wasn't quite like that. I don't want to mischaracterize it, but it wasn't far off. So they promised us that they were here to stay as soon as they. But anyways, we won't get into that. I thought, it was a little bit of a frustrating game. I give Toronto full marks. I thought they played very well. Barnes is great. Is really tough, and Quigley's good, and Portal is good. They have a solid team. I have a question regarding that at the end. I'll ask, but I thought the Warriors hung in tough again. Like you say, they're winning gritty. They're able to win gritty now, which is great. And Butler, of course, is so solid. Again, nothing flashy. He doesn't do anything like flashy or any extra energy. Very, very efficient, but he was great. I think Draymond overshot it a little bit. I think he got a little carried away with himself, but that's fine. Moody didn't do too much tonight. I was curious what you thought. He didn't do a lot, but I thought he really picked up his defense when it counted in the end, and he made some big plays. I think again, Post continues to evolve. I mean, I thought he's really a good 3-point shooter. Obviously, we know that. But I thought he made a big defensive play at the end, and I think he keeps learning. I think he's going to be a real force. I'm not going to say he's going to be an all-star, but he's definitely on trajectory to be a very good NBA player. I mean, he keeps learning. So I want to hear about that. What your thoughts about that? And lastly, just for your thoughts, not to take anything away from the Warriors, but it seemed like the Raps do a bit of a sneaky tank at the end because they didn't put their starters until 4 minutes left. And I wonder if you noticed that and you thought anything was strange about that.
Yeah, they were down a couple of guys too. They had R.J. Barrett and Grady Dick is somebody that's played for them. So they were down a couple guys. Ingram, who they traded for, was out in this one. Yeah, maybe.
True.
Maybe they're at a point where they have to, I think, kind of protect everything. I do think they have some young players that they like, but they also they also, this is a big draft for a lot of teams, and the best way to get better is to be able to hit on a pick. So maybe there was a little of that. Maybe they thought they could get him a little bit more rest with Steph out there. And I'm looking just ahead, just because I always like to look ahead. Not that they do not play tomorrow. They played did they play last night? I can't remember if they played last night. They didn't play last night either.
Toronto played 2 nights ago, I think.
Yeah, they played. I'm looking. They did not. Oh,
Tuesday,
did I miss? I must. Yeah,
I thought they played
did
Tuesday.
not. They did not play Tuesday. Actually, I was looking at it right now because they played. Nope, there were only 4 games on Tuesday. That's why I remembered. So they had a couple of days.
To be Monday then.
They had a couple of days off. Yeah, they had a couple of days off. They played Sunday and Monday, and then so that's what it was. They were in Portland Sunday, Monday. They were in Phoenix, and then they had the last. The league does that a lot. They'll have a back-to-back, but now they'll have a team play a back-to-back, and then they'll give you 2 days off some of the time now. So they had the 2 days off, and then played tonight. So what wasn't necessarily that, but I'll give you a quick thought on Post. I'll let you continue.
Please.
He at a minimum, Danny. At a minimum, he's a 20 to 25 minute a night player most nights, because I don't care who you're going up against, you can always find minutes for shooting. And again, if you're a shooter that's 7 feet that isn't soft, all the better, right? Because most of the time guys who are great shooters at that size are. So I think he really has an ability to play. I think it helps to have Draymond out there with him, or Jimmy, or even both at times, to be able to kind of make sure he's in the right spot defensively, which I think helps him gain a step. But everything that I've heard and from people that I've talked to, he does learn quickly, and he asks questions. So he's doing everything he can to maybe offset some of what he doesn't have from an athletic standpoint or from an experience standpoint, by being a sponge. And he's taken to some of the feistier personalities on the team, which I think is that's a good thing, right? Like he's kind of taken to Draymond and Jimmy. So that's a positive sign, I think, as well. Not every rookie would be doing that.
I'm glad you said that, JD, because I thought if I was maybe getting a little over my skis on him, falling too much in love, but I agree with you. And I think that, I don't know. Whose game would you compare him to? Who like, he's a bit of a unicorn, right? I mean, a 7-footer who could shoot like that. It
is. Well, it is. I need to see more, Danny. I need to see a little more from him, because I don't think he's a great defender on the perimeter. I also don't think he's a great, like, defensively, like, shot blocker. Although there's been some games where he's put himself in the right position. He's very good at just using his size to keep people off their spot, and that can have a value in the lane as well. But I'm trying to think, 7-footers that can really shoot it. He's a better shooter than like Olynyk. He's a better because Olynyk's been a pretty good shooter, but he's always been more of a mid-30s type of a shooter. I think Quentin Post is a 40+ 3-point shooter percent. So I think that's good. Could he be a Bobby Portis? I mean, Bobby Portis has grown to be really comfortable out there, and he's a little feisty as well. So I need to see a little more. But you're right, there is not a great comp at this point in terms of guys that truly. I mean, he truly is a 7-foot shoot. I mean, he has the confidence of a really good 2-guard in taking some of these shots. And I'll tell you another thing that hit me tonight. Kaminga, they had Kaminga in the corner a lot tonight. Like they had him kind of waiting for the play to develop, and they're running stuff through Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler is so good, Danny, at finding the guy in the corner. And even though the defense thinks that they've got a step or enough space to get back to him and still be able to help. He is so good at baiting the defense into just getting enough room, and then he's so quick at getting the ball to that corner. A couple of those times, and he's done that with post. A couple of those times he did it with Kaminga. Kaminga didn't hit the shot. I think one time he did. But having someone in that spot, we've seen Moody be that person, we've seen Post be that person. I think one more guy, and seeing Post be that person is what made me think of it. Having one more player on this roster that can play in that spot that teams are going to fall asleep on, I think it makes Jimmy Butler all the more effective in a lot of ways, because he's so good at setting up the defense to get the ball to that corner, and that's an almost unguardable shot if the timing is right, and he makes sure the timing is right.
Sounds good. I'll let you go, JD. Always a pleasure. Safe travels.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. All righty, Danny in Vancouver checking in here, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627, as the Warriors get the win 117-114 over the Toronto Raptors. They are 41-29. That's a new high mark for Golden State on the season, as they win this one by 3. And now the Warriors plus 12. First time they've been 12 over 500. And now they will hit the road for the next couple of weeks. Everybody awaiting what's going to be next for Steph Curry and the MRI results and all of that. Kyle, what do we want to do here? Do you want to take a timeout? You want to do some chats? You let me know where you think we are here.
Let's do a few chats here.
Let's do a couple chats here as we get to Dubs OT with JD. And I want to do one more text, actually, on the Golden State Lumber text line. 510, who was the backup point guard? This is kind of a trivia question tonight. I had this one bookmarked. Who was the backup point guard in 2022 when Steph was out? Guys, it's Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole stepped in and was able to, maybe not the true point, but he was able to step in and make some things happen and help win the Warriors a couple of games in Curry's absence. But, yeah, he was that third guard. Also, Chris Chiozza, I'm waiting for Kyle to laugh at the Chiozza reference. Chris Chiozza minutes, kind of like Ty Jerome minutes. Ty Jerome's having a hell of a year, by the way. Douglas Mikes, just wanted to chime in and say it's awesome that we now have a legit sharpshooting center. His defense will get better. Yeah, and it's more like if you can rotate right and use your size on the interior to clog things up, you can be capable enough defensively. And there have been a couple of games where it's like, damn, Quentin Post is blocking a lot of shots. Like he had one game where he had 4, there's a couple other games where he had 2. Like it's not like he has been completely unthreatening as a big man there in the paint. So, but yeah, the 3-point shot has brought a whole new element to this thing for the Warriors. A couple of more here. Drew down. I don't think anyone would have expected Post to put up 18 points and 6 threes in a game this year. No. And he's done it twice with the 6 threes. Actually, has he done it 3 times? I think he's done it 3 times, right? Did he do it both times against Chicago? It might have been 6 and 5. We need to go to the Quentin Post game log. Now, I think he had a 6 and a 5 against the Bulls. But, yeah, nobody would have had that 50-second pick. I mean, he looked like he wasn't going to see the court this year halfway through the season. And all of a sudden, he's not only seen the court, but he's brought that element. So that's a major win. And, oh, by the way, that's another young player that the Warriors have drafted that they are and developed into somebody that is contributing to a winning team that has some big-time expectations. Like, do we need to revise our scorecard here, Kyle, on the Warriors' development of young players? Because all of a sudden, Post looks like he can play and fits. Pajemski's a starter now, and he's helping him. Moody's been spectacular. And Kaminga, we'll give him some time. I mean, Kaminga's shown some high-end talent. I'm not downplaying Kaminga, but let's give Kaminga a little breathing room to come back from the injury. I mean, he's shown what he can do more than the other three, I think, to this point in his career. So all of a sudden that developmental plan looks a little different for the Warriors with some of these young players. Let's do one more, and then we'll take a timeout. We'll come back with some sounds at Dubs OT and also some fun with numbers and all of that good stuff. Matt Ake, great point, Matt. Kaminga needs to slow his game down if he wants to get those fouls. He does get fouled. For somebody that, I mean, he does seem out of control, and he still gets a lot of calls. I will say, like, Kaminga gets calls. But I'm with you. He does need to slow his game down. I thought tonight he was a little erratic and amped up to looking to make things happen, which I think is the right spirit. But you got to be a little smarter in terms of the shot selection. He had some really bad shot selection in the first quarter tonight. And again, he made up for it once he relaxed, got a couple layups in him. And then all of a sudden, see, I don't have a problem with him taking a turnaround jumper here or there or taking a three if he's already in a rhythm from hitting a couple layups and a couple dunks or getting to the free throw line. That's what happened the second go round. People were coming down my road on Twitter because I pointed out the fact he was taking bad shots, and then I praised him for taking some better shots, and then everybody wanted to come down my road, Kyle, like, JD, what the you talking about? You were killing this guy, and what about now? It's like, well, he took 4 bad shots, and he took 4 good shots. It's not rocket science, people. Like, both things happened. It ended up kind of being an uneven game. He had a really good stretch. He had some bad stretches, but I'm with you, Matt. A deep breath. Play fast, but don't hurry. The John Wooden, right? You want to play fast, but don't hurry. I think at times he is a little hurried, and that doesn't help things. But again, given the way his night started, I give him a lot of credit. And we've seen him do this other games where he doesn't play well initially, and then he gets it going. And his second, he'll have a bad first shift, and then come back and have a really good second shift, and then from then on, he's playable at the end of the game. Now, you come back and you have a second bad shift, then maybe you aren't finishing the game tonight. But that's what instills confidence in the coach to be able to play you down the stretch. All right, let's take a timeout. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line. Phone line's open. Got time to maybe sneak in one more. Sounds of Dubs OT, though. We're going to do that next. And then more from the chat as the Warriors win tonight, 117-114. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR presents the sounds of Dubs OT.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
No class, no ball.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court.
Now here's John Dickinson.
All right, welcome back from Harmonic and Thrive City. As we roll on here to a close, Warriors win over the Raptors, 117-114. We'll get to sounds of Dubs OT here. We got Kyle Hart in our San Francisco studios, Irwin Quang hanging out. We got Brian hanging out with Irwin tonight, having a brew. Everybody's having a good time. And yeah, we're rolling. Cheers. Come on over, Brian. Say what's up. Yeah, no spillage. But yeah, Brian, just having a good time. Cheers, brother. Appreciate you here. Yeah, overnight. We got to get Overnight Dave out a little bit, man. Overnight Dave, Dave, we got to get you out to Harmonic one night. Kyle's like, yeah, get in line, pal. Kyle's, we get Cole in there and Kyle out here and Dave in there, and anyway, we'll shuffle it around here with how many games to go now? Are we down to 13 games to go? Is it only 12 games to go? Where are we? 12 games to go. 41-29. That's 70. So 12 games to go, and the next 6 are on the road for the Warriors. Only 4 home games remaining for the Warriors, and not another one for 2 weeks. So let's get to our sounds of Dubs OT. We'll wrap it up here as they're trying to wrap things up tonight from Harmonic as well. And we'll start with the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr. Oh, actually, no, we got to get Fossey.
Yeah,
Fossey. I forgot about you. Sorry about that. Let's get you before we start playing all the sound, my man. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, JD. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody at Harmonic. Sounds like you got a good crowd there. Kyle, Overnight Dave, thanks for taking my call. Hey, look, we got to give it up to, or I was going to get on here and talk about quit post, but you guys touched on that earlier. So let me just say this about Draymond Green. This guy needs to get the Defensive Player of the Year award. I mean, he's out here hustling. He put the team on his back basically tonight when Steph went down. And then also, man, I don't really talk about Jimmy Butler because he gets a lot of credit from you guys. But, man, he played the whole fourth quarter, which is great to see because this was a good game, man, for him to kind of take over and really leave a mark on not only just the game, but, you know, for the next couple of games, if Steph is going to be out for a while, you know, we'll see how he looks like as the lead dog in the pack or the, you know, leader of the pack here going up again or on this road trip. And, shout out to everybody in the group chat, man. Always good to see everybody in there. Shout out to my guy, Todd. He shouted me out. But again, everybody else, cheers, everybody. Have a good night.
All right. Appreciate it, Fossey. Checking in here. Look, second game in a row where Jimmy Butler played the whole fourth. Played the whole fourth plus 3 minutes. Played the whole fourth tonight. And I go back to the Denver game where Kerr subbed him out. You know, he starts the fourth quarter with Steph out. Then he subs back in. And then he comes back in when Steph's out, subs out, and comes back in for the final 4 or 5 minutes. Jimmy did, and somebody in the chat picked this up the other night, Jimmy did kind of seem surprised that Kerr took him out. Like, Jimmy's not used to that. Like, Jimmy's used to, we're in trouble and need to win this game, so I'm just going to keep playing. Like, remember, Jimmy Butler came up with Tibbs. Like, Jimmy Butler's played with Tom Thibodeau 2 different stops in his career. And Jimmy Butler is that dude in terms of, you know, I think wanting to make sure that you win the game at all costs. And he is tireless, although aging at 35. So I think the Warriors always lean on the side of caution with that kind of thing. But I think the one thing you've kind of seen is the first game Jimmy accepted it against Denver. Maybe there was a conversation, maybe there wasn't. But without Steph the other night, Jimmy's got to finish the game. Jimmy finishes the game. Without Steph tonight, Jimmy's got to finish the game. Jimmy finishes the game. It winds up leading to 2 wins. And Jimmy's used to it. So I think that's the key takeaway, and that was one that I had kind of bookmarked but hadn't quite been able to get to. All right, let's get to the sounds of Dubs OT here. Warriors win by 3. Let's get it rolling. Let's run through these. We'll go with a couple of Kerrs, couple of Draymonds, and the one Jimmy Butler. So let's start with Steve Kerr. First on the Stephen Curry injury. We paraphrased a little of this, but let's hear it straight from the head coach.
He's getting an MRI right now. He just kind of fell in pelvic tailbone area. So he was trying to come back. He thought he might be able to come back, and we just decided not to risk anything. And so hopefully it's not bad, but he's getting imaging right now. He went down into the training room with Rick, and Mike just told me just now that Steph thought he'd be okay to come back in, and the decision was made not to risk it.
All right, and I think that's, as we talked about earlier, smart decision to not look to risk it, as the Warriors often are cautious with that. So more to come. We'll see. The Warriors have a flight to Atlanta tomorrow, and then they're going to be on the road. So maybe you don't get the MRI results. Maybe you get them tomorrow before the flight with some kind of injury update. Maybe you get them when the team lands. Maybe you got to wait all the way until Saturday. We shall see. But I think the initial reading of the tea leaves is good as far as this, maybe being something that's a game or two, but it feels like it's not necessarily going to be worse than that, which I think everybody among the Warrior fan base would hope for, unless there's a something that pops up unforeseen on that imaging. All right, let's hear another Steve Kerr. We discussed this on Tuesday night, and so we might as well discuss it again. Steve saying, we'll play the question part of this too, but it's basically the debate about, does Steve have to tell Jimmy to take the game over? Hell the bleep no, he doesn't. It's short and sweet.
Was that something you had to tell Jimmy, hey, be more aggressive, or was that just he understood the moment?
Nope. He just understands the situation, and he wants the ball, and he asked for it in different areas and attacks. And, he did a fantastic job. His shot wasn't going tonight, but, he was creating everything for us. Triple-double, obviously. The defensive play of the game with the block shot at the rim. So it's the beauty of guys like Jimmy, Draymond, they can impact the game at such a high level regardless of what's happening with their offensive games.
Yeah, and, I mean, the tandem of those two is unmatched in terms of the defensive intensity and IQ. Like, I mean, we go back to the, Steph, or the days where it was Draymond out there with Iguodala and Klay Thompson, obviously, as a point of attack, and Bogut at times, although they'd go to the death lineup. But it was IQ, athleticism, anticipation. Draymond's kind of found in a weird way. He's kind of found his defensive soulmate from a basketball standpoint, and it's Jimmy Butler. I mean, the two of them are just so smart and know where to be and anticipate what player tendencies are going to be, and that's the part that I just keep coming back to as it relates to the ability to take over, because taking over the game can be offensively and defensively, but I think it's the level at which the two of them together have made each other better, which is a nice segue into our Draymond Green clip, our first one here on Sounds of Dubs OT, which is Draymond discussing just how much he's loved. Forget about having Jimmy Butler for offense, but how much he's loved Jimmy Butler defensively and just how it's helped him.
Just having someone that thinks the game like I do, and then obviously having the ability that Jimmy does, it's incredible. Him coming up with that block at the end of the game. He pointed straight to me. He said, I got you. I can do it too. So just having another guy like that to where you don't feel like you need to have to cover up everything. It's amazing. Lucky to have Jimmy here. He's helped take my game to another level, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it shows. I mean, I think a lot of it is intelligence and scheme and just, again, the understanding of tendencies and basketball IQ. The other thing is Draymond's got a dog with him. He's got another dog. Like, he's got another guy that kind of, maybe it doesn't manifest itself in the same outward way that Draymond does. He has reinvigorated Draymond Green. Like, he has shaved 5 years off of Draymond Green just by showing up. And part of that is the fact that Draymond now believes that this team has got the potential to be able to do something special. And Draymond lives for meaningful basketball. And even games that aren't truly meaningful, I mean, tonight was pretty big. He's busting ass at the end of the game to get a win. You know, tonight, in the grand scheme of things, you know, maybe not a big game going into it, but they got to win it, right? Like, maybe not. You'd hope you would have won it a little more comfortably, but I mean, Draymond and Jimmy just defensively just taking it over, and impressively so. So, really, 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 really strong from the two of them. But yeah, it's been noticeable. I mean, nobody was talking about Draymond being in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation before Jimmy Butler got here. Now, 6 weeks with Jimmy Butler. And again, a lot of it is just Draymond playing harder because he thinks this thing is worth it now, which has always been a Draymond thing. That's not being critical. That's just being real. But now all of a sudden it's a conversation. And it was one that I don't think anybody thought they would have had. You're not going to be able to do it, Irwin. Irwin's like trying to distract. Irwin's like trying to distract me. He's like trying. It's like I'm about to shoot free throws, Kyle, and Irwin's like waving his arms around and like, yeah, I'm more like Steph shooting a free throw. Yeah. Irwin. I did hit 33 out of 36 in 1 year. Take that, Greg Silver. That's right. I did hit 33 at 30. I didn't get to the line a lot, but this is a minute. I don't want to go. I don't want to be that guy, but it was because I wasn't a foul grifter or a merchant. I only got there 36 times in like 36 games, so I definitely wasn't. But I made him when I got there. I made him when I got there. No, yeah, the Papas probably play dirtier than the Silvers. Or Irwin, who plays dirtier? Kyle, you weigh in on this. Who plays dirtier, the Papas or the Silvers? Got to be the Papas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. We're not losing the license, Kyle. Come on.
Greg is too nice. I can't see him being a dirty player.
I mean, but Mike used to hang out with Dennis Rodman back in the day. So,
oh, geez.
Like, Mike wrote a book about Dennis, like with Dennis Rodman. So, like that, like, you didn't know that?
No.
Did you not know that? Oh my God!
I didn't. Did he get to go to North Korea with him?
He went a lot of places. No, you got to check that out. I mean, yeah, you have to check that out. I'm sure Walk on the Wild Side. Is that what I think it's Walk on the Wild Side is the name of it. But I think it might have been a Sports Illustrated article actually, or a Sports Illustrated. It was an SI like cover story, I think, on Dennis Rodman. But he spent a lot of time with him. He spent enough time with him for it to be a book. But yeah, anyway, back when the SI cover stories were a huge deal. But it was a huge thing. Like, he spent all his time with Rodman. He's going all this different stuff. You got to go back and Google it.
Yeah, I need to dig that up. But
Google it.
Check the YouTube chat. Robert Brown. Actually, this is pretty funny.
All right, Robert Brown. Here we go. Greg would commit a flagrant and then help the guy up. Oh my God. Come on.
Talking about Silver.
Yeah. Well, no. Not Papa. No, I know. I know. No, absolutely. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Walk on the Wild Side was the book. And then there was also a cover story, I mean, probably 30 years ago-ish at Sports Illustrated. And, oh, yeah, Kyle, you got to – all the young ones – I mean, I was a kid then, but, like you got to look that up. Like, that is – yeah, that, like, legendary stuff. Like, legendary stuff. All right, I digress. Let's continue.
What cut are we on?
We're on. Well, we've played a couple Draymonds.
We're on Cut K. Cut K.
We are on Cut K. Draymond Green discussing his mentality down the stretch with Steph Curry not in the game.
I mean, the mentality is just, on Steph's side of the game, it is vitally important that we get stops. And so you just kind of, make that, emphasize that, and, guys stepped up to the challenge. The offense is never going to be as smooth when he's not out there. Jimmy's done a great job of last 2 games of just taking over the game and getting us great looks. But it looks different when Steph isn't out there. So got to make sure you pick it up on the defensive end. And I think we did a pretty good job of that.
And the Warriors have continued to do a great job of that defensively. And it's becoming, I think, a part of their DNA, which is allowing for them to win a lot of these close games. And it's a part of their DNA that's going to earn them the wins that they're going to need to be able to finish this season above the fray when it comes to the play-in term. Is that Cole checking out? Who is that?
Yeah,
Am I blind?
He had a long day at 10:50 running some NCAA tournament games.
Yeah, okay. So Jacob and Cole and Casey Copeland tonight.
Yeah.
And overnight Dave. I saw, Casey Copeland doing the thing on the cuts and all that. So that's good. All right, let's do one more here from our Sounds of Dubs OT segment. And it's Jimmy. You got to have Jimmy. He spoke to how the Warriors have had to play here not only tonight down the stretch after Steph went down following the fall, but the game against Milwaukee and then the game, potential future games if Steph has to miss 1 or 2. This is the template for Golden State, according to Jimmy.
I think the message is going to be whether he's with us or whether he's not. Hopefully he is. But if he isn't, that's just more perfect basketball that we're going to have to play. We can't afford to turn the ball over. We can't afford to foul because we don't have the one individual that can automatically get us back into the game. But we want the guy. We want our guy with us.
Yeah, and hopefully they will be able to have them as soon as Saturday, if not Saturday. Again, it's Miami Tuesday. So, again, they're in a good spot as the schedule. If this is a day-to-day thing, the Warriors are in a great spot for day-to-day type of scenario. All right, that'll do it for our Sounds of Dubs OT. Let's go right into let's go right into our Fun with Numbers segment, and then we'll do some Kyle's Clicks here and let everybody enjoy the remainder of their Thursday night.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, I said 5-1. It was actually a 6-1 homestand for the Warriors. 7-game homestand. 5th time they've done that in a 7-game homestand in franchise history. That, per Elias, they've never won all 7 games of a 7-game homestand. The Warriors have never done that. Obviously, fewer 7-game homestands. They are 9 of the last 10 in the win column, 41-29 overall. That's the highest they've been above 500. They are 23-14 at home, 9 of the last 10 at home, as well as 9 of the last 10 overall. Warriors, for the first time this season, won a game in which the opponent shot at least 56% from the field. The Raptors were hitting tonight. And the Warriors beat the Bulls last year in Chicago. That was the last time, last January of 24, that the Warriors did that. Another clutch game and another clutch win. The Warriors are on a heater in clutch games, Kyle. I know you're waiting for this one. They are 23-18 in clutch games. They are 7-2 in clutch games since the Jimmy Butler trade. They are 7-1 in clutch games where Jimmy Butler plays. So it is completely flipped it. They are 16 and careful, guys. Kyle, we didn't catch any of that. We're having okay, good. No, we're good. Good. No, we're all good. Everybody's good. No, we had a little slip up the other night. Irwin may know about that, but we had a little. There was a little. Anyway, we're 7-1. So without Jimmy in clutch games, the Warriors 16-17. With him, they're 7-1. So there you go. It's completely been a game changer. Jimmy, third triple-double, second with the Warriors. Draymond, team high 21, second time in a handful of games for Draymond to be the leading scorer after not doing it in almost 8 years. Steph, 17, pelvic contusion. We'll keep everybody updated on that. 18 for Quentin Post. Kaminga, 16 off the bench. 22nd straight game he's been in double figures. Nice rebound for Kaminga. Warriors are 20-2 when Moses Moody starts. 20-2. When Moses Moody starts. And Brandon Podziemski's somebody that deserves a nod. Brandon Podziemski was really good in this game, and Podziemski's been good overall here for a while. That dude has kind of become an unsung hero in a lot of ways for the Warriors. 15 points. He had a lot of them early, and the Warriors needed him. He was hitting threes and scoring the ball early, and they all count when you win by 3. All right, let's get a couple of Kyle's clicks here, and then we will call it a night from Harmonic. San Jose Jazz fan 4, JD needs security. We got great. Grace is pretty strong on security. So is Shea. Mike was in here, but I think he was just hanging out. Alex is, he's a bigger dude. He'll take somebody. Ian J, money on the table, life on the line. I'll rock with Dre. That's why even with some of the things that he's done, you still want him on the team. And I think the Warriors would have been foolish if they had dealt him. Next, estimated eyes. Greg has razor blades in the soles of his shoes. Yeah, he just never uses them. Greg Silver or Greg Papa? Greg Papa probably has razor blades taped to his forearms. Good. Kyle might not be able to finish the show now. I saw JK actually jump for a rebound tonight. Baby steps. Yeah. Come on. Kaminga was trying tonight. I'm giving him. I'm not coming down Kaminga's road tonight. Robert Brown, JD, who is your tourney winner? I think Duke's going to win it. My wild card pick was Houston. Big wild card pick. They're a 1 seed. Well, I think. Who? Duke was number 1 overall, right? Or was Houston number 1 overall? Or no, it was Auburn was number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Auburn was number 1 overall. I know. My wild card is another 1 seed after I pick a 1 seed. I know. Okay. I think Duke's going to win it. If my second pick would be Houston. All right. Joe H. How does Curry not get the foul call when he landed on his back? If that isn't an indicator of Stephen Curry's whistle, I don't know what is. Because he does get thrown a lot. And it also, I think, speaks to why he just is so comfortable taking shots from the perimeter, because teams really try to ragdoll him when he goes into the paint. But that should have been a foul 100% without a doubt. Curry may miss the Hawks game. He certainly won't miss a round at Augusta. Yeah, there is a round at Augusta or an extra night in Miami. Well, it's a tough one. That's a tough one. Steph might take the round at Augusta.
Or Domino's and sipping wine at 3 a.m. with Jimmy and Draymond.
At Big Face, with some Big Face coffee the next morning. All I want for Christmas is QP3 playing more than 30 minutes. That from JMU. I don't know about 30, but he's real good in the 20 to 25. I thought Kerr should have finished with him. And he brought Buddy back in for shooting down in the final 2 minutes. I actually thought Post should have been out there with about 6 minutes to go. I thought he should have closed tonight. That would have put him close to 30. JC Mack, we don't need him in Miami. Jimmy has that in the bag. So give him a week. Give him the next week off. Yeah, that's going to be wild. Not only the reception, but, yeah, Jimmy's going to want that one like he wanted that practice in Minnesota where he took the third team and beat the starters. And then Jimmy gone, as Jeff Teague said. And he was doing the interview. Yeah, just killed them all in practice. So good. That's like my favorite video. Brian Banks, JD Draymond really was 5 at 13 minus the end of the shot clock. Heave will take 5 at 13 every day, all day. No hating on Dre. Okay, fair enough. Brian, we're close enough to the end. I'm going to take it. One more. Let's get to our comment of the night.
Now, time for the Dubs OT comment of the night.
All right, what do you got? Joe Schmo, Papa and Silver drive their kids to work. that's a great comment, Joe. Appreciate it. Oh no, we're good. We are good. So that's it. Our comment of the night. Kyle, some final thoughts to you. Appreciate you, my man. I'm just going to give you final thoughts tonight while I sip on this beer.
Yeah. No, it was a good game. Good win. My eyes were definitely wandering up between like 3 or 4 screens though with the tournament going on. And how about this, Shady? I picked one. I'll tell you who I picked that I got wrong. I had Yale going to the Sweet 16, but I picked McNeese and Drake.
Oh, I had Drake.
Yeah.
Drake in one.
That seemed like a common pick. I think I saw Austin's tweet saying that Drake was such a lock. I'm forever a Drake fan.
The other one I was proud of was Creighton. I had Creighton today, which is, that's like picking a 1 seed to win it. That was a 9 over an 8, but a lot of people had Louisville.
I like Creighton.
Creighton, yeah. Well, they're playing Auburn, right?
Yeah, I think I picked them over Auburn.
They might beat Auburn. Auburn was looking a little shaky in the first half against Alabama A&M or something. Or State. Alabama State. It was Alabama State. Sorry, Alabama State. It was Alabama State, not Alabama A&M. Alabama Q&T. No, I don't know. It was, yeah, they looked a little, but yeah. Creighton's got action, Kyle. So.
I feel like Creighton has had like the same 5 players on their team for the last 6 years. It's like that Ashworth and
Doug McDermott's dad.
Yeah.
And Doug McDermott. And Doug McDermott's dad. Who's been the coach there obviously for a while. All right, great stuff. Kyle, thanks to you. Thanks to Overnight Dave. Thanks to Casey Copeland and Jacob and Cole and Grace and Shay and everybody here at Harmonic. Eddie was hanging out, and Irwin Quang for stopping by, and also our buddy Aaron, all the way from New Zealand, stopped by and said hi via Hong Kong. So, yeah, that was a great night. We'll talk to you Saturday from the home studio, Warriors and the Hawks, as the 6-game trip begins on Saturday with the Warriors taking on Atlanta. We'll talk to you then right here, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Shed gets a running start. Butler saved the day! Butler with a block!
They found Butler in the backcourt. Jamal Shed thought he was home free, and then the Butler did it. And you see Jimmy Butler, I got you.
Emirates Cup or bust?
Oh, hell yeah.
First of all, you gotta start off liking each other.
I'm super cereal.
Big fat dub.
Ain't nobody going to stop me.
I just wake up and I can shoot it no matter if I'm playing or not.
But great win.
Who are these guys?
I love you, JD. Bye, sugar.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
Jimmy freaking Butler puts it in.
Everything's gonna be all right.